Hi everyone! Hello! Here's Linda again from ITTT, and today we're talking about something really interesting and exciting. Teaching English in Asia and all you need to know, how to get to Asia, the best countries in Asia where to teach with the highest demand, and also the best sort of recruiters and teaching job platforms where you can find the best jobs for teaching English in Asia. And I'm super excited about this topic today. I myself, I've been pretty much based in Asia since 2012, 2013-ish. And I spent some time in China, and now I'm actually in South Korea, and I've been here already for a while, so it's going to be 6 years soon. And so I'm so excited to share my experience with you guys. And hopefully maybe some of you can also share your experience if you have experience in teaching English in Asia, or obviously if you want to know anything about the topic or about TEFL, TESOL, teaching in general, feel free to ask questions in the comments at any time. We are live on Facebook and on YouTube at the same time, which is always really exciting. So we get a really cool pool of people every week. A lot of people who come here week after week after week, like Tiana. Hi, Tiana. Love your new profile picture. It's really cute. And we also get a lot of new people. And it's a great mix, people from all over. So if you're watching this, let me know where you are in the world right now, where you're watching from. I am in South Korea, like I said, and I'm about an hour and a half south of Seoul. It is 10 a.m. on Friday, 10 a.m. And this is my usual time for being online, my live sessions for ITTT. Oh, hey, Giuliano. Hi, good to see you again. Awesome. Yeah, so please let me know where you're watching from. And also maybe, where you are in your TEFL journey. Are you TEFL certified, or what's the deal? And are you already abroad, or do you want to go abroad? Are you already somewhere in Asia? Have you been to Asia before? What countries are you interested? Let me know, and then we can jump right in. Cool. Juliana's back. Hey, from Illinois. Great. Thank you so much. Tiana's from Arizona. Great. 6 p.m. Okay. Oh, yeah, because you changed the time, right? Summertime. We don't change the time in Korea, so it's always the same here. Cool. Dante from Peru. Awesome. Juliana's in Brazil. Really great. Cool. So I take it that most of you are interested in teaching English in Asia. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching. I assume so. Or you're just interested in you checking out the options, which is always really great. So yeah. Tiana says, I've never been outside the US. I'm interested in South Korea. Awesome. You're in the right place, Tiana. Pam in the Philippines. Awesome. Hey, Pam. Thanks for tuning in. Love the Philippines. Very beautiful. I really want to go back. I say that every time. I want to go to like everywhere, but it's true. It's true. Especially now, because I haven't really been outside of Korea for, oh my gosh, a year and a half. So, it's normally 6 p.m. when you go live here. Oh, interesting. Okay. But you changed the time, right? Interesting. Okay. Anyway, we figured it out. I'm glad. So, yeah, let me make this part a bit bigger so we can see that better. And let's jump right in. So, teaching English in Asia. Before we jump in, a little bit about myself. I know for all of you watching, coming here week after week after week, it's the same introduction, but we also do get a lot of new people, so I don't want them to not know who I am and who I'm working for and stuff like that. So my name is Linda. I'm a travel writer and content creator under the name Linda Goes East. You can find my personal website at lindagoeseast.com. And on social media, you can find me at Linda Goes East. I am from Germany and the US, and I'm based in South Korea. And basically, my personal website and social media is about Asia, my love for Asia and traveling in Asia, and also living in Asia and teaching in Asia in different countries. So if you're interested in that, like I'm sure you are because you're here, so I highly recommend checking that out. And then I am also a TEFL and TESOL marketing professional for ITTT. That stands for International TEFL and TESOL Training. You can find us at teflcourse.net and on Instagram at International TEFL Training. We are a leading TEFL and TESOL course provider worldwide. We have a great variety of different TEFL courses, online, in class, combined. We also have a very new Zoom course. So lots of different options there. I'm sure, or I know for a fact that some of you have already taken ITTT TEFL courses, so that is really great. Cool, then we have Rebecca here who's interested in Korea. Awesome. And then we have someone in China. Cool, I'm teaching business English online. I'm in China. Great, where in China you at? I used to live in Guangzhou and Changsha, Hunan province. It was really great. I love China. I'm dying to go back. So hopefully soon. But who knows, right? Walter, watching from Haiti. Awesome. Great. Okay. All right. Very, very cool. So today's topic, teaching English in Asia. And Harish is in Vietnam. Cool. Okay. So maybe during the live, people who are, we have some people from Vietnam or in Vietnam, people in Philippines. Where else? There was one. Well, I'm in Korea. So China, we can do an exchange of information. You can add some comments to what I'm saying. If you have some other tips for people who want to come to Vietnam, for example, Harish, you can give us some input. That would be really great. I always love having like an exchange of information, not just you listening to what I have to say, but I also want to hear from you guys, your experience. So we can work like that. And yeah, I want to start off by just looking at the map here. Of course, Asia is huge. And those are basically the countries that I'm going to focus on today that we see here, the little flag pins. That's where the demand is the highest in Asia. Of course, there are so many other interesting countries in Asia, but I don't have time to get into those today, unfortunately. But we also have a lot of information about other countries from Asia on our website, so you can check that out. But those are the, how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The 7 countries that I'm going to focus on in this live session today. Because, like I said, the demand is the highest in those places for teaching English as a foreign language. So that is South Korea, Japan, China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Thailand. So that's what we're doing today. I hope there's something for you that you find interesting. And so we have somebody teaching in Vietnam. I've taught in China and in South Korea. Is there anybody interested in the other countries that are listed here? I'm sure there are. Japan is a big one. I know a lot of people who are currently in Japan. And also Taiwan is great. I know some people from Hong Kong or teaching in Hong Kong. It's a really, really great place for teaching English as a foreign language. And also Thailand. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. Okay, then let's just start. Okay, hi Danielle. Thanks for being here. And I have sorted them alphabetically, so they are in an alphabetical order, just to let you know. So we're starting off with China. Talking about China. So the demand in China is huge. And China is actually the biggest market for teaching English as a foreign language. It's estimated that there are around 100,000 foreign teachers currently working in China every year. So there's obviously a turnover, people leaving, new people coming, but there's a lot of foreign English teachers working in China. And there are opportunities pretty much at all kinds of different schools, public schools, kindergartens, boarding schools, universities, international schools, all kinds of private language centers, and also all over the country. And I actually Googled this. Well, so because a lot of people, they want to go to, when you go to China, you want to go to Shanghai or Beijing or like Guangzhou, one of the big cities, right? That's where most people want to go to. But there's actually, and now I forget the exact number, but I think 107, definitely more than 100 cities in China with more than 100, with more than 1 million, with a population of more than 1 million. So that's a lot. So because a lot of people I think everything outside of Beijing or Shanghai are like countryside or like tiny towns, but that is not the case. So as you can see, or as like I said, there's more than 100 cities in China with a population of over 1 million people. So they're huge cities, and most of us have never even heard of them. So there's a lot of places to choose from. It doesn't only have to be Beijing or Shanghai. And also, if your heart is set on Beijing or Shanghai, the competition is very fierce there. So you would have to get, like extra. You have to polish your portfolio and things like that. Yes. So Tiana says there's a bigger demand in smaller towns because nobody wants to go to the small towns. Yes, right. So even all the other cities or towns that are under 1 million people population, yeah, there is a huge demand all over, also in smaller cities. That's what makes China really, really great, especially for first-time teachers. I think China is a great place to start and get experience, and then you can move on to, a different destination, or after a couple of years of working in smaller cities in China, you can then move to Beijing or Shanghai. So then looking at the salary and benefits, so in China, you can make between 1,000 and 2,500 US dollars a month. And most schools also provide free accommodation, paid airfares, and an end of contract bonus. So that is very typical. The requirements, because there's some questions here about the requirements. So you need to have a bachelor's degree, 2 years of teaching experience. Actually, not teaching experience, work experience. I should correct that. So not teaching experience, work experience. It can be any kind of work. And a TEFL certificate of at least 120 hours. That's what you need in order to qualify for the work visa in China. And we have a question from Yuri. Is being a native speaker one of the requirements? Actually, for China, it is not a requirement. It is preferred, especially in the big cities like Beijing and Shanghai. They hire a lot of native English speakers, but China is one of those places that still hire a lot of non-native English speakers. Like, for example, my colleague Lisa, she's from Russia. She goes live every Tuesday, but this week she actually goes live tomorrow, Saturday. I forget, Beijing time, 10 a.m. Beijing time, 12 p.m. Beijing time. Check it out on our Facebook page or on our YouTube. She goes live with a guy currently teaching English in China as a non-native English speaker. So if you're a non-native English speaker, you're interested in teaching in China, I highly recommend checking out that live tomorrow with Lisa and her friend, because they know how to get into China as a non-native English speaker. So I highly recommend checking that out. Check it out on our page. It's scheduled as an event as well. So don't miss it. Don't miss it. It's going to be great. All right, then for the job hunt, typically for getting into China, you work or you find jobs through recruitment companies, recruiters, online job boards, and other teaching-related websites, or also Facebook groups, for example. And I have listed some of the main or biggest sites that you can search for down here. So, for example, China by Teaching is a great website that you can look at for teaching jobs in China. China by Teaching, also Jubel, and EF. EF is a huge English language chain, school chain in China. It's very well known, and it stands for English First. English First China. I think they also have schools in other cities. Or other countries, I'm sorry. But China definitely the most. So EF is a great place to start as well as a new teacher, because they're very, very well structured and organized, because they're such a huge company with so many campuses all over China. So that would be a great place to start. And yeah, check it out. Jubel, China by Teaching. Those are online job boards, online job sites specifically for China. And also at the end, after I finish with all the destinations, all the different countries, I'm also going to share some of our partner recruiters that we at ITTT work with, because a lot of them are also specialized into China specifically, because China is the biggest EFL market, and also other countries. So I'm going to share that at the end, and also the link so you can contact them. Let them know, hey, Linda from ITTT sent me, and they will take good care of you. All right. At the end. Oh, and I also want to mention the QR code that you see in the upper right corner there. Scan it at any time. You can get a 30% discount of any TEFL or TESOL course, because as you can see, one of the requirements, I can't talk today. One of the requirements for teaching English in China is a TEFL certificate of at least 120 hours. And if you want to be in Beijing or Shanghai, you probably need to get more than that, because the competition is really fierce. So take advantage of the 30% off discount. If you cannot scan the QR code, no problem. I'm going to share the link in the comment box. You can check it out. It looks like this. You click on it, you fill out your application, and you get a 30% discount, which is a really, really great deal. So you don't want to miss it. Sorry. Does it have to be a 4-year bachelor's degree? Yes, a 4-year bachelor's degree for China. All right. Good. Then that's it about China. I would like to move on if there are no more questions about this one. But even if you have questions about China, feel free to, throw them at me at any time. No problem. Yes. Giuliano, I just posted it in the comment box. You should be able to see it. It looks like this. Does it show up in the comment box? I hope it does. It should. You can scroll up a little bit, and it should show up there. Let me know if it doesn't, then I'll try again. Because that's important. We don't want to miss the discount. We don't want to miss the discount, right? So Giuliano, let me know if it shows up there. If not, I should pin it. I should pin it. Hold on. How do I pin it? Oh, you should pin it. Yeah, I should. Hold on. I think because I'm not on Facebook. Hold on. Let me do this with my phone. I need to go in and pin it with my phone, I think. Hold on 1 second. because I'm using a streaming platform. Oh, and is it a 4-year bachelor's degree for all countries? No, not for all countries. It's going to depend on the country. Give me 1 second to pin it. Then it's going to be a lot easier for sure for people. Okay, I'm in there now. Okay, I'm going to post it again. And then I'm going to pin it. Let me see if that works. Okay. Why can't I pin it? I don't know how to pin it. Can somebody else pin it? I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Oh man, technical difficulties. Technical difficulties. Yeah, I can only click on it. I can't pin it. Oh, no? Hold on, maybe on the computer. Let's figure this out together because that's important. We don't want people to miss out on the discount. So that's a good point of pinning it. Okay. Okay. Even on the computer, I can't pin it. I'm so sorry. I don't know. I'm gonna figure it out until next time, and then I'll pin it. So sorry. Okay. Let me check back with you. Do you have to do it before you go live? No, I don't think so, because normally you can just pin comments. I've seen that before. I don't know why it's not working right now. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna try for next time. That's gonna be my homework, trying to figure out that. Anyway, let's move on. So next we have Hong Kong. And even though, China, Hong Kong, they have a special relationship, things are actually a little bit different for working in Hong Kong. The demand is very similar, but I mean, of course, imagine the size difference. China is huge. Hong Kong is pretty much a city, spread out on different islands. So it's a very, very different situation. But there are also great opportunities especially at private language centers, also public schools, kindergartens, boarding schools, universities, and international schools. The salary is also very, very different. In Hong Kong. So you can make between $2,300 up to $10,000, but that's really the top. So that's at working at international schools after like loads of teaching experience with a lot of different qualifications. And those kinds of jobs are also very rare, or, it would take you a couple of years to get there, but it is possible. So, also, benefits in Hong Kong, you get housing allowance. Typically, you also get paid round-trip airfare. And that's the great thing, for example, if you work for the NET scheme. I'm also going to mention that in a little bit more in detail. But the NET scheme includes airfare for up to 4 family members, which is really great. You also get a relocation allowance for being able to move all your stuff to Hong Kong and back home, I suppose, and a stipend for medical insurance coverage. The requirements for Hong Kong are similar to China, so it's a 4-year bachelor's degree, 2 years of teaching experience, and a TEFL certificate of at least 120 hours. So that's the same, China and Hong Kong. However, also for Hong Kong, you do not have to be a native English speaker. We actually recently, we also have an ITTT TEFL blog, and we always invite our alumni to share their stories. And there's a lot of non-native English speakers who are or have taught English in Hong Kong. And you can read about their experience on our blog. It's really interesting. Okay. Alaya is asking, how many countries will you be covering? I'll be covering, I think it was 7 countries. And Hong Kong is the second one. Yes, Tiana, thank you, 7. Hi, also Linda, another Linda. Greetings from Malaysia. Hi. Oh, Hekmatula's here. Good morning. I hope you're well. I hope you're well too. Summer programs. I think definitely they do exist, but they are probably a little rare, so you need to hunt them down. However, I imagine because Hong Kong is a little bit more open in terms of their visa situation, right? So you can actually, a lot of countries get visa-free entry into Hong Kong. So I imagine that summer jobs won't be that difficult to find. So I'm not 100% sure. Most jobs are definitely like more long-term, like a year contract, even 2 years in some cases. And summer jobs, summer programs are a little bit more rare, but they do exist. Then for job hunting in Hong Kong, also similar to China, definitely recruitment companies, online job boards like what I mentioned here, for example, JobsDB and Indeed are great. Oh, sorry, here. JobsDB and Indeed are great for Hong Kong. And then also there is the Net Scheme program that places foreign English teachers into schools in Hong Kong. And that is from the Education Bureau. So you can check that out. When you Google Hong Kong Net Scheme, you'll find the official website from the Education Bureau. You can check that out. And those 2 websites for job hunt. And like I said, I'm also going to mention a list of different recruiters that we at ITTT partnered with who can also help you find a job in Hong Kong. Okay, so that's Hong Kong for you. Let's see who we have next. Japan. All right. Japan is another very, very popular one, very competitive, especially the JET program, and also in general. But also Japan is another great option for people who are non-native English speakers because it's not a requirement to be a native English speaker or to hold a passport from an English-speaking country. The demand is very high in Japan, and typically if you teach in Japan, you would either work as an alt teacher, so an assistant language teacher in a public school, or an English conversation teacher in a private language academy. So those are pretty much the 2 types of English teachers that you will encounter in Japan. The salaries are also very good. Some of the highest salaries to be found anywhere in Asia, between 2,000 to 6,000 US dollars a month. And you also typically get paid airfares, housing or housing allowances, health insurance, and a contract completion bonus. The requirements for teaching in Japan are typically a degree, a 4-year degree in any subject. So it doesn't have to be English or TESOL or TEFL or anything like that. Excuse me. You need to be fluent in the English language, obviously. So fluent, not native, which is great for a lot of people who dream about living in Japan. It's not a big restriction there in terms of nationality. And you also should have a strong desire and willingness to pass on your language knowledge to your students. So, yeah, great requirements, not very strict. Job hunt, similar, again, recruitment companies, online job boards, like this one is a very, very big one, Gaijin Pod. I believe they don't only have jobs, but it's also like a blog all about Japan for people who want to move to Japan. So check that out if you're interested in Gaijin Pod, or check out Gaijin Pod if you're interested in Japan. And then also jobs in Japan. Sorry, it's covered now. Give it a second. Yeah, jobs in Japan. So that's another very big job board for teaching jobs in Japan. And then also the JET program is a very big program. That's the Japan what is it called? Japan English. I forgot what it stands for. JET program. Hold on. I should know this. Why did I forget? JET program stands for the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. There we go. There's so many programs and acronyms. Sometimes you forget or get confused. Anyway, that's a very big government-funded program that also places foreign English teachers into schools in Japan. And I know quite a lot of people who have taught through the JET program. It's a very, very popular option. Yeah, Juliana asks, is the cost of living higher than other countries? So yes, Japan's cost of living is high, especially, Tokyo, I think, is one of the most expensive places to live in the world. So definitely that's why the salaries are higher. The same sort of also goes for Hong Kong. It's a little bit more expensive, not as much as Japan, but that's why the salaries are higher there. But you do get, your housing or housing allowance. You do get paid airfare and all these bonuses. So it's not too bad. But another problem that I've heard, especially living in Tokyo or bigger cities in Japan, apartments tend to be a little bit smaller. So just something to think about. Yeah. And I think how they do it in terms of rent is also, especially in Tokyo or like bigger cities, it all depends on the distance, like from the apartment to the subway station and like what kind of subway line it is. So there's like more, popular lines, less popular lines. And so that's kind of also how the apartment costs, what the apartment cost depends on the distance from public transportation. So I thought that was also very interesting. Yeah, good. So just recap Gaijin Pod jobs and jobs in Japan. Check that out. And also the JET program. I think especially those programs are a great way to sort of get your foot into a country when you're new to teaching. So the JET program in Japan is great. Then the NET scheme that we just talked about for Hong Kong is great. And I actually did a live session about those kinds of teaching programs before in the past. You can check that out in our playlist. It's called like the best government-funded teaching programs or something like that. You'll find it on our Facebook page in the video library and also on YouTube. So that's something really great to check out. All right, Richard. I had 3 years in South Korea, Seoul, Daegu, and Busan. Excellent country. You should go. Yeah, I agree. I've been in Korea for almost 6 years. I agree. Korea is great. Also great, especially, I'm going to talk about that in a minute, but yeah, I'm just going to wait until then. Yeah, definitely agree. Okay. Next up. Okay, well, there we go. South Korea. Yeah, so, and I didn't change this part. I'm sorry, that's the same. So that's a mistake. It's not an alt teacher. So typically in Korea, you would work for either a public school or a private school. And they're actually not called alts. So, yeah. And if you basically work for a public school, you would go through the EPIC or TALK program mentioned here. And private schools, they're also called hagwons. You would basically either find those jobs through recruiters or also Facebook groups, for example, or online searches, things like that. Yeah. So then the salary and benefits, also some of the highest salaries in Asia, between $1,600 to $2,400. And there's a lot of opportunities to sort of top that up as well. And make even more. Then you also get really, really great benefits when teaching English in Korea, such as paid airfare, paid housing. There's also a pension scheme and end of contract bonuses. So with the pension scheme, that's basically the national pension scheme that everybody pays into. also Koreans. So Koreans, and if you work there, you also pay into the pension scheme. And what's great about that, when you leave Korea, you get all that money back. So typically you can either collect it at the airport, or you can sort of go like to the, I don't know if it's like a tax office or like the pension office or whatever. You go there and then give them your bank information from back home, and then you receive the money a few weeks later into your bank account back home. But it's really great, especially, you know, if you spend a couple of years in Korea and then you're like, okay, I'm ready, I'm going back home or I'm going somewhere else, you get a huge chunk of money back. So that's a great, like, like a startup money for like back home, right? Because when you return, you've taught abroad, you go back home, there's a lot of things that you need to buy again. Maybe you need to find housing, you need to buy a car. So that's a great thing to have, that little pension money as a goodbye gift from Korea. So that's really interesting, I think. The requirements are also a 4-year degree in any subject, a TEFL certificate, and but yeah, that's the problem for Korea. You need to have a passport from certain English-speaking countries to be eligible for the official work visa. So that's basically Canada, America, US, Ireland, UK, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. So those 7 countries. If you have a passport from one of those countries, you can go and teach English in Korea, basically. If you don't, there is one exception for Indian nationals, and I covered that a little bit earlier in an earlier live. There's this little like loophole, and that's for the EPIC program. So Indian citizens do also qualify under certain conditions. So that's also great. And yeah, typically it is a 4-year degree for teaching in Korea, but the TALK program, one of the teaching placement programs, also allows people who have completed a 2-year degree, so an associate's degree. So yeah, then for Korea, job hunting, you would also, you can go through recruiters, you can also go through online job boards, and you can go through the EPIC or the TALK program. And these are some really great online job boards. We have Dave's ESL Cafe, we have Korea Bridge, we have Work and Play Korea, and we have Gone to Korea. So those are some really great websites to look into. And also some of our recruitment partners that I'm going to be mentioning at the end also specialize into Korea. So you should also check them out. I really like working with recruiters personally. And because they are at no cost to the teacher. So the school always pays the recruiter for their services, but the teacher doesn't pay anything. So that's really good. Tiana asks, did you go through a recruiter? If so, which one? I did. I don't remember exactly which one, because actually my experience was not very good with my recruiter. It wasn't like a scam situation or anything, but I just thought they were not, I don't even remember. It was such a long time ago. I don't know, they just weren't really that professional, I think. There was like a lot of miscommunication. So I don't recommend the one that I used. But I recommend the ones that I'm going to be mentioning at the end. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, with recruiters, you know, it's always like hit or miss as well. And you don't have to stick with just one recruiter. I mean, you're free to contact as many as you like. Yes, I've heard of Corvia too. And they are also partnered with the EPIC program, I believe. So they're definitely really great. Good. Okay. Then we have Thailand. So in Thailand, most teachers work at government schools or in private language academies. Pretty typical, so either public or private school, you can choose. And also most positions can be found in Bangkok, in Chiang Mai, and in Phuket. The demand is really high. Thailand, they're always searching. And Thailand is also one of those places where you can go and find jobs as a non-native English speaker. So that it's not a requirement to be a native English speaker to go and teach in Thailand, which is really great. The salary and benefits for Thailand are you're typically going to make between 800 and 1,000 US dollars per month. And there aren't going to be many benefits, unfortunately. However, think about, the cost of living is very, very low in Thailand compared to other places. So in Asia, you always have to kind of think about, East Asia is like Japan, Korea, China, Hong Kong, and sometimes also Taiwan are in that category. So the cost of living there is a little bit more higher compared to Southeast Asia, where you have Thailand and Vietnam and like Cambodia and places like that. So even though maybe $800 doesn't sound like much, in Thailand, it's going to get you very, very far, actually. Then the requirements are typically to have a degree in any subject, a 4-year degree, and a TEFL certificate. Job hunting, same as with the others. You would go either through a recruiter or online job boards. And here are some that I recommend. We have Ajarn. That's a big one in Thailand, and also Teaching Thailand. So it says it's a free job board for expat teachers in Thailand. So those are two really great resources to check out for Thailand. We have Brett who says, "Oh, sorry I'm late. Good evening." Hi, thanks for joining. That's awesome. So today we're talking about, for anybody who's joined late, how to teach English in Asia, but you probably know that from the title down here, up here. We're at Thailand at the moment. I have sorted them alphabetically, so I think we're almost. So there's Thailand and then 2 more countries I'm going to talk about. But you can always watch the replay, so you can go back after the live and then just watch it from the beginning. They always stay on our Facebook page, the live videos, and also on our YouTube channel, so no problem there. And yeah, that's it for Thailand. Then we have Taiwan. And what's interesting about Taiwan is actually that the government of Taiwan announced an ambitious plan to make the country bilingual, Chinese and English, by 2030. So they're really pushing English education at the moment a lot. So you would find that the demand in Taiwan is really, really good at the moment. And you would typically work for private language schools in Taiwan. They do not have, as of yet, some kind of English teaching program, like the Talk program or the EPIC program or JET program in Japan. Unfortunately, Taiwan does not have something like that at the moment. But maybe they will, since they have this ambitious plan. So who knows? Salary and benefits are also not too bad. So you can make between 1,500 and 3,000 US dollars a month. And you would also get certain benefits like paid airfare, paid housing, and end of contract bonuses in Taiwan. Also, something to keep in mind, Taiwan is an island. It's quite small. It's not too big. So most jobs will, you can find most jobs in the big cities like Taiwan, Taipei, Taichung, Kaohsiung. I hope I'm saying that right. So those places are, have the biggest demand typically. But yeah, as Taiwan is quite small, you can get around very, very easily. They also have excellent public transportation. They have high-speed trains, connecting one end of the island with the other. So it's really, really convenient to be there and, live there. The requirements for teaching English in Taiwan: 1, you have to be over 20 years old, and you have to be a native English speaker with a passport from the US, the UK, Ireland, South Africa, Canada, New Zealand, or Australia. So that's similar with Korea, right? And also a university degree in any subject. So 4 years, 4-year university degree. For the job hunting process, it's the same. You would go either with a recruiter or online job boards. And some recommended online job boards are tlit.com, again, Dave's ESL Cafe, or CareerJet. So those are some recommended ones that you can check out for teaching jobs in Taiwan. Then we have a question from Brad. How are travel restrictions? Are things looking good for summer? Not just Taiwan, but worldwide, including Korea, China. So the one thing is, I know for a fact Korea, I think, still doesn't have travel, like tourist visas. We still don't issue them. However, if you're starting a teaching contract, it's a little bit of a different story because you basically have a long-term visa, you have an address, you have a house, a place to live. So it's a little bit different. So in that case, you can enter and I think you still go through 2 weeks of quarantine. And I think I mentioned that before. I have some friends who started teaching English, who moved to Korea and started teaching English in Korea during the pandemic. And they made it. They flew over and they spent 2 weeks in quarantine and then they started teaching. So the demand for teachers is still very, very high. In Taiwan, in Korea, in China, people are still getting hired, but you would just get through the quarantine process. Yeah, you're vaccinated. Yay, congrats. I'm not sure, if you would have to quarantine, then I think you still would have to, maybe, because the vaccination process in Korea is very slow. And I'm not sure, how they handle people who are vaccinated already. Coming from abroad, I'm not sure. I would imagine because it goes very slowly that you might still have to go through quarantine just because it's an official thing, that could be the case. But even so, it's not too bad. In Korea, you actually get like a care package. It's really cute. You get 15 ramen, cup noodles, and like all this food and hand sanitizers and masks, and I don't know what you get, but it's yeah. I think you can still expect to, quarantine because it's a very new situation, right? People don't really know how to deal with it. People who are already vaccinated, you don't know if you can still transmit the disease. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a health professional. I'm not, I have no idea, but I'm just thinking, because I know Korean culture and things the government does. So I would say that you might still have to quarantine. I don't know. Summer is still a few months away. Things might change until then. But especially in Korea, they are thinking about, or it looks like we might go into a fourth wave very soon. Cases are rising with spring. People are going out. We just had cherry blossom season. So people went out, for cherry blossom watching, like spring picnics and all that stuff. So numbers are rising in Korea at the moment. And the government is fearing a fourth wave at the moment. So who knows? Who knows? But yeah, that's just my opinion. I'm not a health professional. That's just from my experience. Okay, good. So that's Taiwan. Just want to quickly recap and just mention those platforms again. So we have tlit.com, Dave's ESL Cafe, and CareerJet. And we also work with some recruiters that focus on Taiwan, and you can get their information at the end. So then we have Vietnam, and Vietnam is the last one I'm going to talk about today. The demand is also really, really good in Vietnam also at the moment. So most teachers in Vietnam are employed by private language schools, and most positions can be found in Ho Chi Minh City and Hanoi, so the two biggest cities in the north and south. Salaries also not too bad, so you can make between $1,200 and $2,000 a month, which sounds actually really, really high for a Southeast Asian country. And you can make make a good life there, because cost of living is also very, very low in Vietnam. Also, what's great, you get free healthcare and a signing and completion bonus of your teaching contract. So really, really good. Requirements for Vietnam, you do have to be a native English speaker. You also need to have a 4-year bachelor's degree. And many employers will also insist on a TEFL or TESOL certificate of at least 120 hours duration. Job hunt, similar. it's the same for pretty much every country, but either recruiters or your own online job board search. And really good job boards for Vietnam are, again, Dave's ESL Cafe. So that's a good one for all of Asia, pretty much, Dave's ESL Cafe. And then we have Vietnam Teaching Jobs, which is also specifically for Vietnam teaching positions. So, yeah. Here we go. That is it. All the countries that I want to cover in detail. Peyton asks, is there a session about Europe, Spain, or Czech Republic? I did a session about, what was that? The best countries to teach in 2021. And I think I mentioned the Czech Republic there. And I also mentioned Spain and other European countries in my live session about the teaching programs, because there is a teaching program in Spain, there is a teaching program in France. So yes, I mentioned some of these countries in other live sessions, so check them out. That is the live session about the best countries to teach in 2021 and the teaching programs. We do not have a live yet specifically about Europe. There might be one in the future. That's a great idea. Okay, good. Let's see. Oh, those are the EFL recruiters that I mentioned that partner with ITTT. I don't want to forget those. Those are very, very important. So, yeah, we work with a lot of them. As you can see, some are very much focused on China, but also other countries in Asia and also worldwide. So do check them out. I'm gonna share the link with you guys to that page. And you can find their contact information there. Here. So here we go. So you can find our EFL recruitment partners at teflcourse.net/EFL-ESL-jobs. So do check them out. There's a lot, especially for China. What's really interesting, maybe for some people, this one, I think it's this one. Yeah, Wanderlust China. That one is basically a sort of like an au pair program. So you can go to China and contracts range from 3 months all the way to 12 months. So it's great for people who want something short term. And you would live with a local Chinese host family. And I believe the aim is to teach the kids in the family English. And you also get Chinese classes, Mandarin classes. So that's a great option for people who, want to go to China, or they're not sure if China is a good fit, or they're looking for something for just a few months. That might be a really good program. So check them out. And also the others. So yeah, Reach to Teach is in many different countries. So is ESL Starter, Footprints, also GM. They're all in different countries. Also International Recruit. And this one, Prudential Recruitment. What is it called? Prudential. And then there's Prudential First. There you go. Prudential First Recruitment. And there's a couple that are specifically for China. So check those out. Those are really great. And let them know, hey, Linda from ITTT sent you. Okay. Then let's do a bit of a Q&A here before I'm signing off. And I also just want to mention the 30% off. Again, scan the QR code, and I wasn't able to pin it, unfortunately. Or, use the link. I'm going to share it one more time into the comment box. You get 30% off any TEFL or TESOL course from ITTT. So, great deal. Here. Good. All right. I hope you found it informative today. Those are really the 7 most, the 7 countries with the highest demand for English teachers. Of course, Asia is a huge continent. There's so many other amazing countries that I did not mention today, but you can also find positions. I also hear that Cambodia is great at the moment. Lots of a high demand as well. And then you can also find other positions, in other Asian countries as well. Maybe there's not as many available, but you can certainly find them. So check it out. All right, Mikey has a question. Linda, what about if I completed my course? Is there any chance to apply with the help of ITTT? So you mean completed a different TEFL course from a different company? Is that what you're talking about? So all of our ITTT course grads have lifetime job assistance. So we would help our course grads with finding a job. Also, even, lifetime, it never expires. So even if you don't teach for a couple of years and then you decide teaching after 5 years, then you can still contact us and we will be able to help you. Crystal says, is it too early to contact recruiters now for positions early next year? I think it's never too early to start looking into things. They also typically what they do is they get your resume, and then they would keep your file. So then because some different countries also have different hiring seasons, so it depends on where you want to go. But I would say, 1 year from now, 1 year in advance is not too early. I think it's actually a great time. You can start reaching out to different recruiters and be like, this is when I want to go abroad. And they can also tell you their timeline, right? So I don't think it's too early. Definitely reach out to as many places as you can, right? I think it's good. Okay, Mikey with ITTT. Yeah, so then you get lifetime job assistance. So once you complete the course, we definitely help you find a job. And also you will get access to our database of recruiters and all that stuff. So no problem there. We got you covered. Great. Juliana says the link is working out. That is great. Awesome. Crystal, you're welcome. Awesome. Yeah. So I hope it was informative today. You learned something new. I had fun. Let's see if there's a last question coming in, and then I'm signing off for today. But yeah, it was fun. Let me make myself bigger so you can see me better. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Juliana says, thank you so much. Great, Giuliano. As always, thanks so much. Brett, you're welcome. Thanks so much to you guys for tuning in week after week. It's really great to see, familiar faces, new faces. It's awesome. It's awesome. Also, do let me know if you have any topic requests for any other live sessions. Sometimes I also just do random or just general Q&A sessions where you can ask me questions about anything. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes, like today, I have a topic and I prepare some slides for you guys with information. So it really depends on how I feel and what I want to talk about. But I always love talking about Asia, And if you have any other questions, more specifically, not about teaching, but living or traveling in Asia, hit me up on my personal account, Linda Goes East, on social media, or lindagoeseast.com. I love talking about Asia. different countries, different cultures, travel tips, what it's like living here, all those thoughts that I have. I love sharing them. I love exchanging information and exchanging thoughts. So feel free to do that. And yeah, then I hope to see you all again next week. Giuliano says maybe the types of ITTT courses. Sure, I did one about that. But it was probably October last year, so maybe we should do an updated session, because we also always kind of update our courses and change a little bit, tweak them. We always keep up to date and listen to customer, thoughts and feedback, and so we always improve them. And maybe there's some changes now that they're different from October. So yeah, that's something I should do. Definitely. Good idea. Good idea. Okay, my key last question, Linda. What about master in ITTT? The master package. We have a master package. That is, let me pull that up. Let me pull that up for you. The master. And I'm going to share the link with you, and then you can check it out. So basically, you'll find a lot of information here when you look at this link here. You'll find a lot of information about the master package that we offer. It's a really great package. It's for people who really see themselves, teaching English long term. They're looking for the best possible foundation in training to start their career. So I highly recommend it. Harish completed ITTT in 2011. It's a great opportunity for all. Cool! Congrats! Thank you so much. I think I completed mine in, it was later. I think it was 2014. 2014. Also a long time. So yeah, 10 years ago. Congrats! Awesome. Love that. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for joining today. I had fun as always. Love chatting with you on a Friday morning. I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off soon. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to have a chat with you guys more about Asia and Korea and all things TEFL. And yeah, I hope to see you again next week. I'll be here, same time, same place. And also, please don't forget to check out my colleague Lisa's live session tomorrow. She's going to talk with a ITTT graduate currently teaching English in China as a non-native English speaker. So if you're a non-native English speaker wanting to teach in China, definitely don't miss that. It's going to be great. I have a great feeling about it. So it's going to be very informative. Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a nice day as well. Thank you. Michelle, thanks. Awesome. Okay. Signing off now for real. For real. This is the part where I start rambling and I don't stop. So stopping it right now. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great weekend, and I hope to see you next week. Bye.